everyone, and welcome back to Cynical Cinema. I am your host, Ron, and I'm here with my co-host, Jake.
Hey, what's happening?
You know what's happening.
I know exactly what's happening.
We're talking about was it 2010?
Yes, the 2010 masterpiece.
Cinema classic, Predators.
The Robert Rodriguez produced clusterfuck.
Who actually directed this movie?
Honestly, I don't
Are you
remember
fucking kidding
his
me?
name. Not even lying. I can't remember a movie he's directed since, so it's not like something that I can kind of be called on.
Oh,
to a certain degree. Like, I don't remember a movie he directed before this movie because I don't think there was a movie he directed before this movie. And I don't remember a movie he's directed since this movie. So it's...
Jake, you're fired.
I kind of am fired, but forgive me.
Well, okay. Give me a rundown. Tell me why you wanted to, because this was your choice. So tell me why you wanted to do this, and I'm going to look up the director.
Because it was a science fiction movie that was made in the last 15 years that I didn't hate.
Okay.
if that's fair. I mean, Predator was always kind of a cool movie, and maybe we'll get there one day and talk about the originals and all that kind of shit. But... there was something about this movie that was just kind of cool. I mean, who directed this movie?
Okay, Nimrod Antal.
Okay.
So this movie was directed by a Nimrod.
Total Nimrod directed this fucking movie. And watching this movie, you feel like a Nimrod directed this movie.
Yeah, but a lot of people, and I made the same mistake too, because I saw this in 2010, midnight screening, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. And you know what? I'm pissed about that because I went with a bunch of my friends. We were at a pool party and we left the pool party.
Why would you leave the pool
party?
There
were girls there.
Wait a minute. There were women at a pool party and you left the party.
And I'm 20 at the time.
To see a midnight screening of
guys,
Predators?
Yeah, we got to go see Predators instead, you know. Fucking dumbasses. That's really
horrible
stupid.
Decision making.
God, it's so stupid.
But
anyway, but the thing is, you know, because I haven't seen this movie in a really long time. I probably saw it like one other time.
All right, so
after that, you know, so I would say 2010, obviously saw it at the midnight screening, and then probably a year or two later saw it on HBO or whatever the fuck it was on TV.
Right.
And that was about it. So when you suggested this, I did think it was a Robert Rodriguez directed film, but it was just produced by him.
I thought it was for the longest time too, until I actually sat there. I think I listened to the DVD commentary or whatever it was, and I was like, holy shit, there's somebody else other than Robert Rodriguez talking about this movie. And I guess he was the director.
Yeah.
A director I've never heard of.
But now you know that this opens it up where we probably have to do the other Predator movies.
I mean, I would be about it. And both the other Predators are probably better than this movie. But what's cool about this movie is it was an original idea it was original concept on an idea that's been used quite a few times up until this point. Like, it kind of reminded you of Alien, but that's only because it was a science fiction property that was popular in my eyes. Like, I don't know. It's not a bad movie. It was a good concept that was executed poorly.
Well, I'll agree with that, and we'll just run it down. It's very simple, and I do like that it starts off. It wastes no time. You're literally right away. It's everybody being descending from the fucking sky,
and I think that was a concept. From what I understand, that was right there at the beginning. Because originally, I think they tried to go in with some backstory with the Adrian Brody character and maybe the Lawrence Fishburne character in this movie. Eventually, when we get there, and that was how the movie started. But they kind of reconsidered, and they thought it was much more interesting for them to be just immediately falling into the shit and falling out of the sky, and where the fuck are they, and what are they trying to deal with? So that was at least at the forefront of their heads. Yeah. When, I don't know, I thought it was a cool idea.
No, it is. It is a cool concept. My problem is everybody that fucking lands is just like, I don't really give a shit about any of them.
You don't care about any of them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Adrian Brody kind of what was going on in during his? I don't know. What was
I
going
can't
on in
explain
his
it.
career at this time to say yes to this
I don't
and
know. I
to?
think he just did King Kong with Peter Jackson.
Oh, was that before this?
A couple years before it, I
Yeah.
think.
I just don't know. Didn't he won an Oscar for some
The
penis?
the penis,
The penis?
the penis. I think.
Yeah.
He was.
So
Unfortunate
it's just
person
weird
for
that
piano.
your career could go from being in a serious drama that you get nominated for an Oscar, you win the Oscar, and then a couple of years later you're in a Predator movie.
But it kind of, in a weird. I agree with you, but in a weird way, it makes sense to me because of the progression of how Predator badass main characters kind of were progressing at that point. Like, so it started with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Uh-huh.
Total badass, no arguing it. You're not fucking with that dude. He'd turn you into a pretzel. After that, the sequel was Danny Glover. Badass, maybe. He was in Lethal Weapon. He was too old for that shit. And
I think they deliberately did that. Let's just make
not a real badass is my point.
yeah. I think they did that on purpose to try to.
Subvert it.
I wouldn't even say subvert because oh god.
Yeah, I
fucking
hate
hate
that word too.
now. I would
Thanks,
say they
Rian
were
Johnson.
trying to yeah, really. They were trying to I don't know. They were trying to differentiate. They were trying to make their own movie instead of just a carbon copy
Got
of
you.
Predator.
But that was still the quote unquote badass of that movie. And it just got the next step down from Danny Glover. Like, I think Danny Glover would probably kick the shit out of Adrian Brody in a fist fight.
I just think he's trying too hard. He's like, I'm a hardened soldier. You know, he's just like,
Adrian
and it's
Brody?
Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about, man? He's like,
I agree. I'm a mercenary.
I worked out for this role.
I'm more
got a
badass.
six pack.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
it just, he did. I mean, I think towards the end, he has his shirt off, right? And he's like ripped, you know, he's in shape. He did his work, you know, kudos to him.
As a skinny motherfucker, yeah, it's hard to get in shape. So
because
I hear that.
in previous movies, he was kind of a dweeb. So it was cool that he beefed up for this,
well,
you know?
even that he is put on some muscle, he's still a dweeb.
And maybe he just wanted to change his image a little bit. I don't know.
I don't think so. I just think he finally got offered an action role, and he took advantage of it. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna give it a go."
I mean, hey, more power to him.
I agree,
just
whatever.
think it doesn't really work that
Totally
well.
miscast. Could you think of anybody off the top of your head that would have worked better for you at this time?
You know, it's hard to
think.
think back to this era.
It's 12 years ago. It's
Yeah,
not that
I
far.
I just really don't know
anybody-
who is like one of the top
Me neither. Honestly,
action
I
guys.
can't-
There weren't any really.
They're kind of a dime a dozen, which is unfortunate. Like, if this was the early 90s, you would have said Mel Gibson, Bruce Willis. So it's just some of the typical fucking dudes you could imagine being in a movie like this. And nowadays, it's a little harder. You only have
They probably
couple.
couldn't get any of those guys though because of the money or whatever. But I don't know. It's a tough call there. It's hard to think of who would be better because there's probably a bunch of people that would have been better. I don't know. It's hard to ask me that off the top of my head right now. I can't really think.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I hear that.
But
the total progression of this story. So, like, it went from a regular jungle, you know, with the first Predator movie, to the concrete jungle of the second movie. And now I think the concept with Predators is that they were dropped into this kind of hunting preserve, or it was like this just hunting planet for this specific tribe of Yautja or Predators or whatever the hell they're known as. It was a natural progression. So, I mean, how did you feel about it in terms of its context and stuff like that in the Predator series? Like, did you just not like the movie when you saw it? Because you didn't like the movie the first time you saw it.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because I think that was, you know, I think before you go into your 20s, I think when you go to the movie theater, it's always an experience. And for some reason, when you're younger, no matter what you see, it could be the biggest piece of shit.
Right.
You're always satisfied because you went to the movies and you had a good
It was
time.
just bigger
And
than
then
the experience
and then
usually
something changes in your life where you get older and you see a couple bad movies in the theater and you go, wait a minute,
Wait a fucking second.
why didn't I enjoy that? You know,
Right.
so I think, yeah, me being in my 20s, like I just turned 20, I guess, when this movie came out.
Okay.
And I think it was just one of those things. We saw it at midnight. I was initially excited because I'm a huge fan of the first Predator. The first Predator is amazing. And you know, the second one's okay too and everything. So I was just glad that they were continuing it.
Right.
And it was a cool concept because I still like the concept. It's a good concept.
Yeah, I just like the fact that it's a bunch of dangerous people that were clearly abducted out of their lives or their lifestyles or whatever. It's a bunch of dangerous people, or what would be perceived as dangerous. You have a guy from the Spanish cartel. You have a guy that's a mercenary. You have a woman sniper. You have a guy from the Yakuza. You have a guy from it's like a Congolese revolutionary or something like that. Really dangerous, kind of off the wall people. Lawrence Fishburne's character, who's like a fucking CIA agent from after like the Bay of Pigs and shit like that. Like really some gnarly fucking shit. And you have a fucking regular rapist, incestual, clearly murderer or something like that in the form of, what's the guy's name?
Was that Topher Grace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic character. He has the simplest character out of all the rest of them, but he executes it kind of the best. I think he was really.
I feel
fun
like
to watch.
everybody else in this movie should have been more like, I don't know. They should have figured that out quicker because he's literally the only one that just shows up with no, like they're all in military clothing or it's something that gives away what they are.
So my understanding is, what I was listening to the commentary was when they were going through the script, they hired him, and it wasn't really as fleshed out as the rest of the superficial fucking military nonsense characters they had for the rest of them. So he actually kind of came up with most of what he said and his kind of character and his mannerisms on the fly.
Okay.
So he's the least fleshed out because of his circumstances. But he also did the best job acting out his nonsense character, which was kind of cool. Like he did a really good job for having a stupid character. And then you have the Spetsnaz guy. I don't know. So it's literally just a bunch of dangerous fucking people being hunted by the most, I guess, dangerous predator. Like, you know. But I don't. There's really not a whole hell of a lot to talk about with this movie in terms of.
Okay, that's it. Good night, everyone.
Just the scope of it. Like, there's nothing to really deep dive into other than really what happens. Super isolated.
Well, you know what is more interesting to me is I wanted to see what happened prior to this. Because I wanted to see how all these predators, they had to have gone to Earth and selected these specific people to bring to this planet where they drop them in and, you know.
Right.
And then it's like a game to them.
So just context would have made it more interesting?
No, I like that it opens this way. That's fine for the movie, but I'm just saying, just thinking about the concept, it would be interesting now to see how all these predators, but then it's like Ocean's 11 with all these stupid predators.
I totally agree.
So never mind. Now that I'm thinking about it, but holy shit. But here's the thing, dude. And we were kind of talking about this before we went. We started recording.
Right.
We were kind of discussing when should the predators be shown, you know, when should they show up, when should you see them in a physical form, and that's the biggest problem I have with this movie is
but they really don't reveal them until 45 minutes into the fucking movie.
It's still too soon to me.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe it's I would love to get a minute mark on when you first see the Predator in the first
I
one.
really think it's about 45 minutes.
Is it? It probably is, but it doesn't feel too soon like it does
So
now.
it's an hour and a half
like it
movie.
does here.
You're not
sense.
seeing them until halfway through this movie.
I don't know. Man.
That's good benchmark because we all know what a fucking Predator looks like.
But here's the thing: it's the way is maybe that was a good time to show a Predator, but the way they executed it is not that great.
It kind of didn't work for me either.
Because
it was
first of all, you get and I know what they were trying to do. You get the original Predator, like that species or whatever, tied up.
When he's like kind of, they call it crucified, but it's not really,
so
he's strung up to the pylon. This archaic looking fucking pylon out in the middle of this. I don't know. It almost feels like a trophy ground or something like that, or something where they take something to whatever, manipulate it or fuck with it or something like that.
But what they were trying to say, because this is supposed to be like the bigger, better sequel to like even just like the first one,
right?
What they're trying to say is that's the Predator from the first one that caused all this trouble. Look at him now. He's strung up, and there are even better predators. So when that whole sequence happens, they should have just left it with the invisible predators. So you go, oh shit, these are probably like bigger, stronger ones that we don't know about. That's fucking kind of scary.
More of a question mark kind of a thing.
Yes, and that might have worked, but what they do is they have a scene right after where they all fucking come out of their invisibility cloaks, and it's like a music video. They're like, what's up? Here I am, and I'm the one with like fucking elephant tusks, and it's just fucking stupid. As soon as that moment happens in this movie, I'm like, I'm out. It's done.
I see that didn't ruin it for me. I kind of understand where you're coming from. So
because all the mystery is just gone. It's like, it's just a bunch of retard predators.
So what I think when they do that, it's like, all right. So the predator that was chained up to the pylon or whatever the hell, that was the mold they actually used for when they were doing the special effects, when they were making the special effects for this movie. What was
hold on, let me get it in there. Hear that?
Excellent. Even if it was a seltzer.
Oh, yeah. Well, people will know from what was the last one we did, The Fly.
The Fly, yeah.
We had a discussion where I said I have a bunch of leftover seltzers from my kid's first birthday.
Yep, that's right.
So it's like, what am I going to do? Not drink them? Oh, might as well get rid of them, right?
I totally agree.
Anyway.
But, all right, so with the special effects, what they used for this movie, the predator that was chained to the pylon, the molds they used for his face were literally the exact ones they used for the original Predator movie back in the 80s. They just changed the paint scheme a little bit.
And that's cool.
Like that to make it work.
That's cool.
But what was cool was exactly what you were talking about, how they used that to be like, okay, this was the old Predator that caused all this shit and all this chaos. And he's the one chained up. And he's actually in a worse position than the humans are in this story. For obvious reasons, he's much more dangerous. But what is the actual threat? Finally, when it's revealed or whatever the fuck.
Right.
And you just didn't like the reveal aspect. I thought it was kind of bullshit too. It didn't work for me. The time worked for me. I didn't think it was too early. I just didn't like how they did it. Yeah, me either. It was like you had the hawk guy who had the stupid parrot hawk.
Yeah, that's stupid.
It made sense.
I get that you're trying to change it up and have different looking predators, and they have different skill sets or whatever. But you don't need it, and I guess that kind of I don't know. It just, and I think that's probably what disappointed me in the movie theater too, is when. I think it's literally just that one shot of all the predators like showing them revealing themselves. It's really stupid. I don't know. I think it's just dumb.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. It bothered me because it was kind of dumb, but when it happened, didn't bother me. Then it just jumps. Basically, after they do that shit, it jumps straight into crazy Lawrence Fishburne.
And I didn't like that shit either. it was just too much. I don't know.
I don't think.
And doesn't he like turns on them all too? He starts out like I'm helping you out, but then it's.
I think that was innate in the character.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of what the character was all about. Like people would land on this planet, and he's been here a little bit longer than the rest of them because he had this little bit more of a survival instinct kind of a thing. Like he was willing to do much more fucked up shit to ensure his survival as opposed to anybody else. And I don't know. I think that was the whole point. Like he was trying to put them in a comfort zone, and then he was trying to kill all of them at once to get their gear, get their supplies, and all that shit, just to wait for the next group of people to show up.
I mean, good plan and everything. It's just I don't know. I again, when you talk about it, if I didn't see this movie and you just explained some of the concepts and stuff,
right,
I would think it was pretty cool because there are some good ideas and stuff. I just think the execution isn't the greatest.
No, me neither.
And it's not terrible. I'm just saying it's a lot of things fall flat.
Do you think that's because Robert Rodriguez didn't
direct it? Honestly, I don't think he's also like the greatest either.
Me neither.
So I don't think he would have done a much better job than fucking Nimrod, my boy Nimrod.
Yeah, fucking who's ever heard of him?
You know what I mean? So whatever. I think he would have done an okay job as well. And this is just like an okay movie, so whatever.
It's not bad. I don't hate this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like the worst thing ever or anything. I just think it was a bunch of decent ideas not put together the best way.
That's what I was saying. The execution.
And not executed the best way.
That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, I don't know.
It's a strange movie, man. It's a strange movie. It's a conflicting movie. But, I mean, far from the end of the world, I mean, really, Adrian Brody. Why? Weird.
Yeah, it is a weird. I would like to get some insight into the casting process and having him say yes to it. Maybe he was like kind of popular at the time. I don't know.
Not really. He was in.
Was he on the outs already? And they were like, "Let's get you back in with a Predator movie."
My understanding of him was like he was a strange dude. He did the one movie that got him the Oscar,
right?
And then after that, it's a bunch of strange movies that were mostly
what is he doing
failure.
now?
I have no idea. I haven't seen a movie in a long time.
Oh boy, that's always sad.
Kind
of.
Like,
but then I don't really care at the same time.
He seems like one of those crazy assholes that would be like almost what like Daniel Day-Lewis does. He's like, I've taken a break from acting. I now cobble shoes in Scotland.
Actors are fucking ridiculous.
They are totally ridiculous. They have too much money at their disposal.
Yeah,
ridiculous. It's like the sport. People who play sports. Like holy fuck, you need $32 million to be third string quarterback. I don't know. It's fucking ridiculous. But Adrian Brody, Lawrence Fishburne isn't really that badass. It's kind of cool, I guess, because his first role.
He's a good actor and everything.
No, he is.
I don't know. Like I said, it all kind of falls flat to me.
It would have been cool if he didn't die in his first role in Apocalypse Now when he was like 14 or 15.
yeah, he was in that. Yeah,
he lived in that movie, and then all of a sudden we could be like, maybe this is
and that was him.
His character. He ended up on
They're
this
just
Predator
in Vietnam
planet.
now. It's not really another planet.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We don't know how time works on this planet. So Lawrence Fishburne kind of lures everybody into his ridiculous domicile, which I think is like an abandoned like drill or something like that either some other species had on the planet or that was there in the first place. And he kind of made his home in there. And he eventually tried to like smoke everybody the fuck out. Like he I'm going to bed, all that kind of shit. Got everybody comfortable. He snuck out after they thought he fell asleep. And he literally created a fire and just tried to smoke it. I don't know how he thought that would fucking work against all of these crazy.
It was like a last ditch effort, I guess, when he saw more people on the planet. I don't know.
It was kind of gnarly. And then literally directly after that, he's confronted by, they set off what? He shoots him with the grenade launcher or something like that. and it fucking sends off that explosion or that heat signature, and so the predators pick that up and they go investigating and they kill Lawrence fucking Fishburne.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It goes from that to them, the predators, kind of killing off every other character in this movie.
Yeah, one by one,
Well,
they start kind of. Right. They're all being picked off pretty quickly at that point.
It's almost like a slasher movie.
Right.
Which is kind of cool because that's how the first Predator movie felt.
Yep.
It was science fiction and it was this military aspect, but it really felt like a slasher movie, which was cool.
You know, the problem I have, and it's cool that just to call back to the we spent a little bit of time talking about the original style Predator. I don't even know what you would call it.
But yeah, no, it's
when he was kind of strung up.
Whatever. Yeah.
Adrian Brody ends up I thought that was the more of an interesting part than most of the movie, where he lets him go, and then it's kind of like, okay, cool. It's I thought they were gonna team up or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like the potential for that.
But then it just, I don't know, it devolves into, it's stupid. You shouldn't see two predators fighting each other, like two guys in huge suits just wrestling each other looking like morons. It just doesn't work, and that's why I'm saying, like, there probably shouldn't have been more than maybe just two Predator movies. Because they showed incredible restraint back in the day. Like, they didn't, because I don't know, just shit back in the day was just better. I don't know.
Well, I guess everything was practical back then, so it kind of
but this is practical too. These two guys in suits fighting each other, I know. And it looks so stupid.
It does look horrible,
and it just kind of ruins, like, that Predator. You shouldn't see a Predator like growl and then run. I'm running like without an invisibility cloak. I'm gonna run to kill the other guys that I didn't kill yet. I don't know. It's just fucking like, after he kills the original style Predator. I don't know. I just thought it was really stupid.
I totally agree with you. It is pretty bad. But
you shouldn't be. There's scenes where there's predators running through the woods. You shouldn't see that. That's the whole thing. The whole point is you should see it from the person's point of view, the victims, or you know what I mean.
So it's not like that scene in Predator 2 when the predator is walking through the water. You remember, it was like you could see every footstep that it was taken through the water.
Wait, for what? I'm sorry.
Predator 2.
Yeah, even that is like whatever.
It's not the best, but at least they tried.
Yeah.
I don't know. Set a metric.
The first one just did it the best.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Sorry. It's just true, though. It did it the best. The whole reveal of the Predator and everything was perfect. It was perfectly timed out.
Yes, it was.
And this one, it's the same thing with, it was executed better, but I think they were trying to do like, all right, the first one was Alien, and now we're doing Aliens. They were like, oh, wait, okay, let's do the Predator version of that. So let's do Predators. And it just doesn't work as well. I don't know. It just doesn't work as well.
I agree. I think the characters didn't really work for me all that much. Like, I like what they tried to do with some of the characters, but for the most part, it just didn't work. They were all military. They were all this. They were all that. They tried to form relationships between some of these characters, like the Congolese guy with the crazy, incestuous, potentially rapist murder guy, which is the dude from all the Tarantino movies. What's his name?
Oh, Walton Goggins.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. I can't remember his name. And then whatever, the fucking Eric
Topher
Foreman.
Grace, yep.
Eric Foreman with fucking the Russian guy at first, and then Eric Foreman with everybody else. It just seems like he would, until obviously the big quote unquote the big reveal at the end, which was fucking nonsense. He was a serial killer or something like that. I don't know. It was fucking weird. It was like they had all the components there to make a halfway decent movie. They just really didn't do a good job of it.
Yeah, well,
It's
that's pretty much
unfortunate.
my whole. That's just pretty much how I feel about the whole movie. Yeah,
Me too.
and that's why there's really not much else to say about.
But I can imagine somebody else doing a much better job at the Eric Foreman fucking character in this Topher. What the hell is his name? Topher.
Yeah, Topher Grace.
Oh, horrible.
You know why? Because I feel like he was just that 70s show thing worked for him. I guess I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but it probably worked for him in that instance. And it was one of those things where that was probably his big break. And then you realize as your career goes on that nothing else really works that well.
Could you imagine?
Like you're not perfect for any other role.
But he got the role, I would imagine, because he was unassuming. You know, like you wouldn't assume he would be somebody so fucked up. Like you had all these badass military people. You had a mercenary, you had a Spetsnaz person, you had a Congolese person, you had a fucking sniper in the military. Just crazy fucking people that would probably fuck you up and kill you if you were to fuck with them on a one-on-one basis. That was the whole point of the Predators getting these people in the first place. And then you have this person who's supposed to be unassuming, where you really don't know where he came from. Mm-hmm. And that was the Eric Foreman, Topher Grace type of character. The serial
and that's fine.
killer.
That's like decent.
But
a decent idea. It's just again the execution.
But imagine somebody like Robin Williams or somebody like that playing that character, where it would just take that to the next step or the next degree a little bit better. Like I would you would spend the whole movie being like, why am I Sylvester Stallone and a Spetsnaz person, or just if they better cast this movie and it wasn't Adrian Brody. Imagine like Sylvester Stallone or something, somebody
that would be funny because it would just be
hilarious.
like the flip side of the coin to Schwarzenegger.
Like literally, it would just piss Schwarzenegger off.
Yeah, he would. He'd be like, "That's my franchise, dickhead."
Fucker.
And then Schwarzenegger would go do another Rocky movie. He would go do a boxing movie.
Exactly.
That'd be great.
He's hanging out with Dolph Lundgren. But like, I don't know. I just think that would be a much more interesting movie. Otherwise, other than the fatalities that happen, it's like in typical Predator fashion. It's either circumstantial deaths, like the spears going through the Congolese guy, or whatever, man. The fucking like the rapist dude that was in all the Tarantino movies. He gets his fucking spine and skull pulled out
right.
alive. But I mean, really, other than that, you have the ending of the movie, and it's kind of akin to the what happens in the first Predator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's just another military dude fucking rolling around in mud trying to fuck some shit up, I guess. I don't know.
And then it's like a retread, and it's just, I've seen this before. I don't know.
It's
But
typical.
they do, I will say, the reason he did this, it all makes sense because the girl in it explains, like, she knew the events from the first one. She explains that the only way he got out of it, he was the only survivor. He realized that when he put mud on his body, that messed up their radar or whatever to see. So that makes sense. There is a setup and a payoff to that, which is fine, really.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
I don't know.
At this point, so many silly things have happened where it's just like, I don't care anymore,
But
even this end fight that happens is not as good as the Schwarzenegger one because it was just better directed. It was the whole setup was better. Basically, this whole podcast is just me remembering how amazing the first Predator is. I'm like, damn, remember that shit? That was amazing.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, dude. It's just one of those.
Do you have Predator on Blu-ray?
Of course.
We might have to watch that.
That might be it.
After this podcast. I might tell you to put that on.
All right. Yeah. So that's probably happening. It cleanse the palate.
Yeah, really.
In a
we
sense.
do these podcasts at Jake's house now. So.
Yeah, it's the most comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's only because we love 80s movies. And Ron's wife hates 80s movies.
I actually asked her the other day, I was like, have you ever seen Predator? And she's like, why? she's, she's like, why would I ever have seen that? And I'm like, because it's a really good movie. She's like, I don't give a shit about any of this stuff. And I'm like, you're right. It's fine. Never mind.
That's absolutely. I asked my cousin. His wife is my cousin. I asked her, "Have you ever seen The Evil Dead 2?" She pulled a knife on me.
She said, "Shut up."
She's like, "You shut your goddamn
she
mouth."
spit right in his face.
She called me cuz to show me she cared about me, but she was like, "I will cut you."
It was amazing. So anyway, I don't know. Final verdict. You know, this is whatever.
All right,
man.
so Mr. Ron,
hey, what's up?
would you recommend Predators to anyone?
Okay, I would recommend it under these circumstances.
What would
okay?
those be?
You are into this genre of movie, you know,
Action, sci-fi.
action, sci-fi,
Okay.
whatever. Like you like the Alien franchise for whatever reason you didn't see this movie, right?
Right.
I would say the best way to watch this, if you're like us, if you're kind of a nerd guy, you know, you got like get some of your friends over, have some beers, and almost do like a bad movie night. If you've ever done a bad movie night, you get some of your friends over just because you all want to laugh together, you want to make fun of a movie. This is a good one because it's kind of in the middle. You can get some enjoyment out of it, but you can also make fun of it at the same time.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I would recommend it because that
Okay.
would be a fun night to just fuck around
Sure.
and make fun of it and
have some drinks, have some have some fun, and talk some shit.
exactly.
Like I agree.
It's like the old midnight movie type bullshit. You know,
Okay.
like Grindhouse. You're gonna go scream at the TV and talk with your friends. You don't really have to concentrate on the movie. I would recommend it in that way.
I would honestly, I'm kind of in the same boat. I would recommend this movie, but that's only because really a lot of people don't take movies as seriously as we do in the sense of the genre. Like we want to love something for its merits, but a lot of movies come up short. But this is a movie that is somewhat superficial, and it is not the best, but it also kind of doesn't take itself too seriously,
No.
which is something that I appreciate about it. A lot of science fiction movies take themselves way too seriously nowadays, and it's just shitty. Either it's too political or it's just garbage.
Yeah, no, dude, if this came out this year, I would have been like, oh, this is fucking amazing.
Mhm.
Wow. Oh my God, what a breath of fresh air.
My God.
But I'm just judging it by it's
Merits.
the year.
The merits.
Like the year it came out, and I'm just judging it by its time.
and this is a 12, 13-year-old movie, whatever
Right.
the hell it is. Like, it's not something that just came out. It's not horrible. It's not unwatchable. It's something I think people should watch. If you don't take science fiction too seriously or whatever, you just watch movies to watch movies, then you could watch this movie. It's not terrible,
No.
but it's not like the Shane Black one that came out a couple years ago.
Oh God, are we gonna have to do that? Because I've never seen it. I
We
heard
might-
it.
We might have to.
I heard about it, and just listening to or whatever, just hearing somebody talk about the plot and the synopsis, I don't know. I can't do
bad.
it.
It's not the best, but far from the worst. This is not like Predators made by Rian Johnson, which would be horrific. Could you imagine that movie?
Who, Ryan Johnson?
Yeah, that guy. Could you imagine
No,
if he made a Predators movie?
God, I'm so sick of
It
it.
would be nauseating. But honestly, not a terrible movie. Not the fucking best movie. If don't take shit too seriously, I would recommend watching it. But at the same time, it's a fucking Predator movie. Even the best Predator movie doesn't have too much to it. It's an action movie. It's there's an unseen threat. There's this threat. There's this potential other threat, and it's just about going one way or the other. That is the whole fucking movie, and I don't know. The main character doesn't make any sense. At least he gets to walk away with a halfway pretty Brazilian chick.
Oh, and I will say this: as soon as they walk into the forest, I don't know if there were any fucking predators left or whatever, but he probably got his dick wet. Let's just be honest.
Well, no, he just killed the main threat of the final predator. So
that's what I'm saying. So there's time for him to get his dick wet.
All right, could you remember? All right, so in hindsight, looking back on this movie, we just watched it. What was your favorite sequence in the movie? Whether it's 20 second or whatever, like what was your favorite thing looking back on this movie?
None of it.
Really?
No, I think no.
That was a good
Honestly, no. I think they kind of redeemed the first initial appearance of the original predator species. I know it's not the exact one from the first one because he died.
Right.
But
the paint scheme was different. It was literally the same.
It's supposed to be the same type of thing.
No, it was.
I get it.
Yeah.
I liked when he went back to him to be like, yo, bro, like shit is so crazy that I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to take the risk to cut you down because I feel like you'll at least
help me out a little.
Help me a little bit because you're mad at these other predators.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. But it's still, even like the end result is still stupid. So I don't even know if I could say that that's my favorite moment.
I agree.
So I just don't know. Like none of it really is. It starts off cool. I like when everybody's in the wilderness and you don't know what's going on. And I think, you know what's better is the tension of there are predators out there.
Right.
That's better. That's a better feeling than actually seeing all of them like a fucking music video, like showing up. You know, like that's what ruins it for me.
Really.
And it's the same thing with like Jaws. You don't see the fucking shark, and like those sequences are better where you don't really see anything and you're scared because, you know, you just see a girl in the water and then you see her get pulled down and it's scary.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
No,
that's what's scary and that's what's
interesting.
when you actually see a bunch of predators running around and wrestling each other like fucking WWF or WWE.
Hey.
Showing my age here.
You definitely, definitely showing your age.
You know what I mean though? Like that's the problem I have with this movie.
It's fair enough.
So whatever.
No, that's cool.
But yeah, so that's it. Thanks so much for listening, guys. We're probably gonna. I feel like we have to do the original Predator at some point.
I'm totally down with that.
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. Yeah, again.
But honestly, I don't know what we would talk about other than like it would just be a whole episode of remember that one part that was awesome, and then you'd be like Chris Farley like remember that one part when the Predator remember that was awesome.
That was also a good part of the movie.
Yeah, we're just talking about like that was great, and the whole movie's good. All right, see you later.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, my favorite part of this movie was when there was that confrontation with the Yakuza guy. And
that was all right.
It was just because it was kind of
different,
simplistic, a little bit different. Like
Yep.
he was just using his fucking wrist blade or something like that. The Predator was just using a wrist blade. He was using a fucking katana.
Right.
I don't know. There's something simplistic about it, but that's about the extent of what I was like. Oh man, that was wicked.
And it's one of those movies where you're probably just gonna pick out one or two things that you thought was pretty cool or interesting, and then the rest is kind of a mixed bag. So whatever.
No, I agree, and that's really as far as we can go with this. But I mean, it's a fun movie to watch. I haven't watched it in a while. I sat down and watched it because whatever we discussed having the idea to do the podcast on it, and I didn't regret revisiting the movie. So it's cool. If you've seen the movie and you were kind of about it, it's like watch it again. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's fun.
Especially compared to what's coming out nowadays. But,
exactly. It's still fun. So
fun to talk about. Kind of shitty. Kind of amazing.
Yep. Throw it on, have some drinks with your friends, and have a good time.
Absolutely.
That's basically it.
Mr. Ron, thank you for having me on.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Cynical
man.
Cinema again.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Always fun.
And we'll see you next time with another high-quality movie. Hey everyone, it's Ron here with a quick announcement. When I started this channel, I was reading and reviewing the Dune books and other sci-fi related material, and most of you might not know that I'm also a musician. So when I was reading these sci-fi books, I started to get inspired and decided to make my own soundtrack to use for my videos, and now I'm excited to tell you all about the first volume in the Ron Reviews original soundtrack collection. This album includes the first 17 tracks featured on my channel, and it's available now exclusively on Bandcamp. Be sure to check the description of this video for the link to the album. Thanks so much for the support so far. I know I'm just starting out, but I hope you're having as much fun as I am. So check out the original soundtrack Volume 1 on Bandcamp. This music is great if you want something moody and atmospheric to listen to while you're reading some science fiction. I think you're going to love it. Thanks.